Anxiety is an issue that has been plaguing society for decades, but luckily, we have geniuses like Jake Paul, who recently thought up a pretty interesting solution that's actually very simple, and I'm surprised not many other people have brought it up. He says, remember, anxiety is created by you. Sometimes, you gotta let life play out, and remind yourself to be happy, and that the answers will come. Chill your mind out. Go for a walk. Talk to a friend. What I meant is that your anxiety can build up if you let it. It doesn't just go away. Mine never does, but there's days where it's really bad, and then there's days where it's not as bad. So if anxiety starts to build up, there are ways to help it chill out. Optimus responds to Jake by saying, Jake Paul fails to understand basic mental illnesses. Gustavo says, great tip, be happy. Jake Paul really invented mental health. BWC says, Jake Paul is crying out, he needs help. This dumbass dropped out of school and thinks he can preach to you about how to make money and how to manage mental health. Punch too hard in the head, this one. The Quartering responds to Jake by saying, I'm cured, throws Xanax out. 8 Thoughts says, totally agree. I was really anxious about everything. Then I just reminded myself, WWJD, what would Jake do? I went for a walk, reminded myself to be happy, and chilled my mind. Thanks, dude. Fuck the haters. Demon Fizzy says, you tell me I wasted all that time and money on psychiatrists, therapists, medicine, and even checking myself into a behavior health facility when all I needed to do was this tweet? Thanks, Jake Paul, for curing my anxiety. Elijah Daniel says, YouTube superstar Jake Paul cures anxiety. Daily Mail. Anxiety tip. If you are having eggs, I, and tea, or stressed, remember, stress was made up by Hallmark to sell more cards. Just chill your mind out. Go for a walk. Hope that helps. Leon Lush responds to Jake by saying, currently letting life play out. We'll post updates here when I'm back from my walk and answers have come. Karuna Satori ASMR says, remember, depression is created by you. You are suicidal because of yourself. So go outside and take a breath. Let it play out. You are so uneducated and spoiled that I can't. Nick Leeman says, I just screamed be happy in the mirror 12 times. Hasn't worked yet, but I'm going for 13. Thanks for the tip. Eva Victor says, just smiled as hard as I can, and all my teeth fell out. Jake, please advise. Sierra responds to Jake by saying, this is actually really harmful. Anxiety can be extremely physical as well as mental. Mental illness is not the fault of the sufferer. Please delete this. You are doing actual harm to your followers who very well may need to be seeking professional help for their problems. Emma Bell then responds to Sierra by saying, I'm really confused and concerned by these replies. Do y'all actually think anxiety is made up by the mind? Sierra is right. I was sexually, mentally, physically, and verbally abused for 3 years of my life. My mind didn't just make up my anxiety. It stems from the trauma and abuse. Dominic responds to Jake by saying, not everyone has friends or people they can talk to or trust, especially disabled people who society often isolates. This is a very privileged take. Elliot replies to Jake by saying, anxiety is created by you, unless you have an anxiety disorder, in which case it's your brain triggering the flight/fight/freeze response in inappropriate situations, and you have absolutely no say in it. Rita quote tweets Jake and says, I mean, my body and brain create anxiety, so in a sense, yeah, it's created by me. I also sometimes create headaches, sinus infections, back pain. Haven't been able to talk myself out of those either though. LOLs. Actually, anxiety feels like you are dying, like you can't function, like the world is horrible and awful, like life is pointless, like you'll never feel good or normal again. Though much better, I'm still reeling from intense anxiety/panic episodes I went through 6 months ago. So basically, if Jake Paul has never experienced true anxiety, he should shut up. If he has experienced true anxiety, he should know better than to post unhelpful statements like this. And also, he should shut up. Andrew responds to Jake by saying, are you gonna quote this with a funny dig at you? Because retweets would be fun, but props would be better to just directly let you know how bad this is. It's really bad, and wrong, and horribly dangerous. You should delete this immediately before some 7-year-old believes it. Dominic then replies to Andrew by saying, I was suicidal from age 5 until my early 20s. because people told me my anxiety and other mental illnesses due to extreme bullying and mistreatment and abuse were all my fault. Abused, bullied, and harmed kids often internalize this. Oscar responds to Jake by saying, I hate if this is an attempt at being wholesome, because while I hope your heart is in the right place, it's worded so badly, and just comes off worse than it does good. Anxiety is a disease. Lots of people do prescriptions to even function in society with it, including myself. Michael responds to Jake by saying, Jake Paul is not wrong at all. Not sure why people want to bash him for offering some advice. Anxiety is fueled significantly by insecurities within yourself. Be confident. Learn to love yourself. Brittany then responds to this by saying, Bro, do you realize anxiety and panic attack disorders are literally a mentally diagnosed thing that doctors who have studied their entire lives recognize? Richard responds to Jake by saying, Went for a walk until the anxiety went away. I am now alone in northern Canada. I am getting cold. Something is howling nearby, which is, ironically enough, increasing my anxiety. Please advise. Raquel says, Damn. All this time, all I needed was some sunshine in a tweet from Jake Paul. Hello, serotonin. Mike Mailjack, who is a very close friend with Jake Paul's brother Logan Paul, responds to Jake by saying, Dude, honestly, your tweet was spot on. Everything you said is effective. You told people to relax, go outside, get air, be positive. You're good, little bro. Don't let the fuckers get you down. He then makes a tweet of his own that says, I know Jake to be someone, like me, who suffers from anxiety and panic attacks. Who are these mental health warriors to tell anyone how to explain their feelings and coping tactics? Ask yourselves, are y'all helping? Maddie responds to Mike by saying, No one is telling him how to cope or deal with his anxiety. Our problem is that he legitimately said that you create your anxiety, and that is so invalidating and such a dangerous thing to preach for someone with such a big platform. Mike replies, In a way, we do create some of our own anxiety, maybe through bad habits, poor coping skills, lack of boundaries, whatever. I think what he meant was learn how to deal with your anxiety instead of making it worse. Maddie then responds, he can offer tactics and strategies for dealing with anxiety without making bold, definitive statements. That's all I'm saying. Just Libs responds to Mike's tweet by saying, It's not helping if he generalized anxiety as one conception on how to fix it. Stop being high and mighty and realize anxiety affects everyone differently. Mike then replies, The coping tactics he listed are effective for the majority. Slow your mind, get out in nature, take a walk, etc. Separate yourself from negative thought patterns is universally believed to be an anxiety killer. Just Libs responds, That is definitely true, that those steps can help a majority of people. I think the way he approached it, it felt like it was being generalized to everyone and not his own experience of what he has done for himself. But it's obviously not the case for everyone. Matt Pitt responds to Mike's tweet by saying, I don't think a lot of people are calling him out because of his anxiety. They are calling him out because he lives in a snow globe, away from real life issues. It's annoying when influencers try to tell regular people how to cope, when in reality, they have no idea what it's like. Mike then responds, This is the dumbest shit I've ever read. This thought you have that influencers are any different from the rest of us is so misguided. They struggle the same way you do, homie. Mike then replies, Bro, I got leg amputated at 22. I don't have the funds or the backing to help myself out of the hole that has happened to me. Fair enough though. I make no judgment on Jake Paul. He can feel whatever he wants to feel. I'm just simply stating why people are feeling this way. Anxiety comes at different levels. People deal with different shit. But you can't deny that Jake has financial backing, which eases his situation, so of course there's gonna be pushback. Donna quote tweets Mike's response to Matt Pitt by saying, I think Logan Paul's PR guy needs a PR guy. Keemstar quote tweets Mike's original tweet and says, a caption from Jake Paul's brother's employee, who was hired to do PR and keep Logan from filming dead bodies. By the way, to cure anxiety and depression is to tweet about it. Results may vary. Vicious Panda then responds to Keem by saying, Keem, as someone who is clinically diagnosed with depression, this joke isn't funny. I have suffered severely from something I have had a hard time controlling. Keemstar quote tweets her and says, No, the joke funny, but you can't laugh cause you're depressed. Alex says, the world after seeing Jake Paul's recent tweet. Breaking news, anxiety rates dropped to 0%. Alex Irvin says, Me. Oh no, why is Jake Paul trending on Twitter? What insensitive shit did he do now? Jake Paul. Anxiety is created by you! Me. I'ma head out. Ellie says, bro, this fucking idiot has the audacity to say that anxiety is made up shit after retweeting suicide hotline numbers. Please, children, stop following Jake Paul. He is the second dumbest cunt in the US, and what he says will hurt you when you grow up. Kaylee says, if Jake Paul and my anxiety were drowning, and I could only save one, I'd save Jake Paul, because my anxiety is all in my head, and I can just go outside and take a walk. Demon Fizzy says, Cameron Dallas cured my depression. Jake Paul cured my anxiety. Who needs mental health specialists when you can have these educated idols? Showing the anxiety tweet Jake made and a tweet made from Cameron Dallas that says, don't be depressed, go out and make new friends, talk to people. Demon Fizzy continues by saying, by the way, this tweet from Cameron was 5 years ago. I'm pretty sure his vision on it is different, but it's still funny to poke at. I mean, I make fun of my own videos and shit from years ago, hahaha. Taylor Nicole Dean responds to Demon by saying, chill my mind? OMG! Never thought of that. It's gone. All of it. Loey says, I can't believe in 2020 we have Jake Paul of all people telling the masses that mental illness isn't real. I need a nap. Reggie says, who gave Jake Paul my Snapchat? Showing a picture of Jake Paul with the caption, haha, no, don't have anxiety. You're so sexy. Thy Art is Memes says, Jake Paul retweeted the suicide hotline and tweeted that anxiety is something that is man-made and can be solved by taking a walk. Laughing my ass off in the same day. August Vibes says, Jake Paul is at it again, showing an image that says, Jake Paul thinking he just tweeted something to cure people's anxiety. An hour later, Professor Snape says, what's the spell to make Jake Paul go away? Ethan Klein tweets out, I know it's immature, but look, this idol blocked me, lol, showing that he is indeed blocked by Jake Paul. He then says, with Rice Gum and Jake Paul down, I gotta keep pushing as the Twitter trash talk champ. Let's go. Who's next? Lauren says, me throwing away my anxiety medication because Jake Paul cures me forever. Taylor Nicole Dean says, all of us are getting cured of our anxiety disorders from Jake Paul's tweet tonight. Honestly, a revolutionary moment. Victoria says, Jake Paul coming online to tweet more ignorant BS nobody asked for. Jake Paul then responds to all this criticism by saying, everyone clowning on my tweet, but it's now spreading more awareness about anxiety, which I didn't even know was a thing till I was 18, but had it my whole life, and never knew how to deal with it. If you think you have it, or want to deal with it, try reading this. Linking an article talking about 7 simple ways to cope with anxiety. Sky Williams responds to this by saying, nobody is clowning on your tweet. Your tweet is dangerous to your young impressionable audience. Anxiety is bad enough as it is, but now you're trying to make it seem like it's our fault that we feel anxious. It's just so invalidating and short-sighted. You should delete it. Michael replies to Jake by saying, remember, depression is all in your head. Just be happy. Go outside. Drink water. Real Lock responds, OMG, thanks for curing my depression. Elijah Daniel quote tweets Jake and says, sir, you cannot pretend your tweet saying anxiety isn't real was an awareness tweet. That's like when Logan Paul, oh wait, never mind. Taylor Nicole Dean responds to Jake by saying, your tweet spread bad info about anxiety because it can stop people from getting help when it's needed. Thinking they can just walk it off and chill, it was also a little insulting to those who deal with it. Those clowning are the ones providing good info. Just say my bad and move on. Dan replies to her by saying, shut the fuck up. Anxiety is all in your head. People don't need to get help. They need to help themselves. Taylor then responds, yikes. Bad take. Liv responds to Dan by saying, I see a psychiatrist. Take several types of meds. Have done therapy for years. I've done sleep studies, countless blood tests, etc. Am I not getting the help I need? Taylor then responds, no, just walk it off. It'll feel better. Liv then responds, thanks. You cured me. Meg responds to Jake by saying, being anxious and having anxiety are not the same. Drinking water and going for a walk are things for people who are stressed or nervous, not people who have to live with anxiety disorder. Sammy Whammy responds, people use anxious to replace nervous and wonder why teens are self-diagnosing themselves. This is why anxiety isn't taken as seriously as it should be. It's just being used as the newest trend. Meg then responds, this, and Jake is not helping at all by spreading this agenda that anxiety can be cured by going for a walk. It just proves to me that he literally doesn't know what anxiety is. Sammy Whammy responds, he is so privileged to be able to afford the necessary help for his anxiety, yet he spews, just chill out, go for a walk. Anxiety is caused by you. Comment Cop responds to this whole controversy by tweeting out, there is nothing wrong with Jake Paul's tweet. He never said anything about anxiety disorder. A positive attitude, physical activity, relaxing your mind, and talking to a friend is good advice to cope with anxiety. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, showing the original tweet made by Jake Paul, next to an article that says, anxiety is your body's natural response to stress. It's a feeling of fear or apprehension about what's to come. The first day of school, going to a job interview, or giving a speech may cause most people to feel fearful and nervous. But if your feelings of anxiety are extreme, last longer than 6 months, and are interfering with your life, you may have an anxiety disorder. Linz DeFranco, who is the wife of the YouTuber Philip DeFranco, responds to Jake's tweet by saying, everyone is freaking out, but I truly think he was trying to be helpful here. I have debilitating anxiety, daily. It kicks my ass. I do not relate to his sentiment. However, I think that sometimes we forget he's young. Not everyone realizes that anxiety hits people different. So, while I think he should do more research before speaking out about mental health, we also need to acknowledge that there are some people who find this tweet helpful. If this sentiment doesn't apply to you, let it fly. Let it go. I talked about this more on my Insta stories. I won't link it to keep the trolls at bay, but you can find it if you were so inclined. And I was inclined to check out what she had to say, so I went over to her Instagram and checked out her story. This is what she said.
Guys, so Jake Paul is trending and it's over something about mental health, and I felt like I wanted to talk about it because when I clicked on the trending topic to see what his tweet said, I thought it was going to be like so bad, but it's actually really not that bad, and I feel kind of like I'm the only one that feels this way, and he's just getting like completely slaughtered online. So I kind of wanted to talk about it as somebody who deals with debilitating anxiety almost daily, as you guys know. I'll show you what the tweet said. Hold on. So yeah, that's what it said, and people are really upset about it because they're taking it personally, and like, you know, it's I don't know how to say this. Okay, so they're taking it as him saying that like, you are in control of your anxiety, you are the reason you have anxiety, you can totally get over it by yourself, blah blah blah. And people who can't relate to that sentiment are very pissed about it. I also cannot relate to that sentiment. I know that my anxiety is a chemical thing in my brain that I cannot control. However, as we know, and as I hope the people who are responding to him and are mad at him know, anxiety hits everybody differently. And I think that for all of the people who don't relate to his tweet, there are people who do relate to it, and there are people who will see him and think, you know what, he's talking. I didn't realize Instagram was starting to cut us off again, but here we are. There are people who will see that and relate to it and think that, you know, Jake Paul's talking about his anxiety and he has anxiety, so that makes me feel better about having it too. I think we're all so quick to jump on people who make statements that don't apply to us, and then that for some reason hits us wrong in our brain. Like something I like to say, I didn't make this up, I forget where I heard it though, but it's if it don't apply, let it fly. If Jake's tweet did not apply to you, let it go. There's no, in my opinion, and I never in a million years thought I'd stand up for Jake Paul, but on this one specific situation I will. Also, we forget that he's young. It wasn't till a few years ago, I'm 30 now, it wasn't until a few years ago that I realized that anxiety hits everybody different. There's a possibility, I mean, so there is a possibility that he doesn't realize that anxiety hits people differently. He doesn't realize the severity for some people. He doesn't realize that, you know, just going for a walk can not really solve a problem. But you know what it can do? Going for a walk can help. I mean, there are some days that I can't even go for a walk, but you know what? I don't feel like there was harm meant by this tweet. And of course, when you have such a big audience, you should do your research, especially before talking about mental health. But people freaking out about this specific thing, it's noise. It doesn't. It's gross. So, everyone mark this on your calendars. February 17th, 2020, the day Linz DeFranco stood up for Jake Paul. It won't happen again, I promise.
And that is about it for this Jake Paul anxiety controversy. Definitely some interesting stuff. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. If you did, be sure to slap a like on this video and subscribe with notifications on to keep up to date with everything going on in the YouTube community. And also follow me on Twitter to keep up to date with what's going on over there. Thank you so much to my channel members for supporting the channel, especially Josh Pescator, who donated $30. He has a YouTube channel where he also covers the news. It's pretty good. I recommend you check it out. Anyways, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.